Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, we're going to be taking an in-depth look into the Chevrolet SSR. My goal with this review is to explain why I've always considered this to be one of the coolest vehicles to come out of the new millennium. Of course, I'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data. I'll take it on a thorough drive and show you many of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as exterior. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start her up, and let her run. Also, a huge thanks to my friends down at Cosmo Motors of Hickory, North Carolina for providing this example today. For more information about the dealership, including contact info and current inventory, please feel free to check out their website provided in the description box below. Between the late 90s and mid-2000s, a wave of new age retro was spreading throughout the automotive industry. There were a lot of really neat vehicles coming out, such as the Plymouth Prowler, 11th generation Ford Thunderbird, and even the PT Cruiser. There were some others as well, but to me, the one that had the most impact from a design perspective was the Chevrolet SSR. It stood for Super Sport Roadster, a pickup with a power-retracting hardtop, V8 engine, and rear-wheel drive. Later on, you can also opt for a manual transmission. It looks like it came straight out of the early 1950s. The original concept was first unveiled at the 2000 Detroit International Auto Show, and at the time there was a lot of positive feedback, so much so that when it came to production, the styling was pretty much left unchanged. That being said, it's still a very polarizing vehicle. Some people love it, some people hate it. You gotta hand it to Chevrolet though for not being afraid to step out of the box, way out of the box in fact, and create something that's not only unique but insanely cool. It's by no means perfect, and of course we'll talk about all of this as we go through the video, but just look at the exterior. All of the detail with the flared out fenders, the running boards, that long rear deck, the two little taillights, the spoiler, and the twin exhausts out back. It just looks like a proper hot rod. The SSR rode on a modified version of the GNT 360 platform, which could also be found in the Chevrolet Trailblazer. This, known as the GNT 368, is actually a little bit shorter in wheelbase and the track is wider. As far as curb weight, the SSR is about 200 pounds, give or take or so, more than a Trailblazer SS. Production of the SSR was short-lived, between 2003 and 2006. They didn't sell a whole lot of them either. With the Vortec engine, they made 14,092 units, but with the LS2, which came out in 2005, I'll talk about that more in just a moment, they made 10,088. Original pricing for the SSR would have ranged between the low 40s and high 40s depending on the level of optional features. This particular example probably would have been around the $47,000 to $48,000 mark with destination. The SSR had a pretty aggressive wheel and tire package. Up front you had 19 by 8 inch wheels and two 55/45 tires, but in the rear you had 20 by 10 inch wheels and two 95/40 tires. Like many of the exterior and interior components, the wheels were finished in bright silver unless you opted for chrome. There's 4-wheel vented discs, aluminum calipers, and ABS. If equipped with the automatic, you also got traction control. The steering is hydraulic power assisted with an overall ratio of 16:1. It takes about 3 turns to lock and has a turning circle of 38.1 feet. In 2006, Chevrolet actually retuned the steering a bit to lessen effort at slower speeds and make it a bit more precise on center. The SSR suspension consists of independent double A-arms in front with a 5-link solid axle out back and a standard limited slip differential to control torque delivery. When talking about handling and road manners, it's hard to compare the SSR to anything else because, let's face it, there's nothing else really quite like it. It's not a sporty vehicle by default, although it does have some sporting qualities. It's a cruiser at the end of the day, a powerful cruiser at that. These things are bigger than you might expect and, depending on how equipped, weigh around 4,700 pounds. Overall, the SSR has a fairly comfortable disposition. It's a nice ride, very smooth. It's not that great in the handling department. After all, this is a 4,700 pound truck. Over rougher pavement, there's some cowl shudder and some body shake, but that's to be expected for something like this with a removable roof that doesn't have a whole lot of extra chassis stiffening measures. When you appreciate this for what it actually is, a cruiser, and look at the general picture, you'll see that it's not necessarily about what its raw performance capabilities are. It's all about a unique experience, putting that top down, letting the wind go through your hair, the cool styling, the powerful engine, and the loud exhaust. It's awesome. What I've always liked about the SSR is that from the onset it had V8 power, unlike the Plymouth Prowler, which was unfortunately let down by a V6 and a 4-speed automatic. Now, when the SSR first came out, the original concept had a 6-liter V8 from Chevy's 3/4 ton pickups, but when the production version came out, it only had the 5.3-liter Vortec, which made 300 horsepower and 331 pound-feet of torque, and the only transmission was a 4-speed automatic. So, as you can imagine, for a vehicle this heavy, that led to pretty lackluster performance. However, in 2005, they introduced the 6-liter LS2 engine from the Corvette, which bumped it up to 390 horsepower and 405 pound-feet of torque. 2006 models got 395 horsepower. This meant the SSR with the automatic could hit 60 miles an hour in 5.5 seconds and fly through the quarter mile in just under 14 seconds. As cool as all that sounds, that's not even the best part. With the LS2, you also got the option of a 6-speed manual transmission. However, these are really rare. Out of all of the LS2 SSRs that were made, only 2,213 of them were manuals. Which is a real shame. I've never driven one, but it sounds like an absolute blast. The 4-speed doesn't feel all that different from a Trailblazer SS or any of GM's pickups. It's not very sporty, but you know, it does the job. The LS2 definitely has some serious grunt, and I've already said it before and I'll say it again, that exhaust out back sounds incredible, especially with the top down. As far as fuel economy, the SSR with the automatic was rated at 17 miles per gallon city, 23 miles per gallon highway, and an average of 19 miles per gallon. 93 octane premium fuel was recommended but not required. A 25-gallon tank was standard. The SSR's interior is a pretty cool place to be. No, the build quality is not the greatest, but what I really like about it is that there's not a whole lot of evidence of parts sharing between this and other GM vehicles, unlike a lot of their trucks and SUVs at the time. Even the steering wheel appears to be SSR specific. There's a lot of cool stuff packed into here too. I really like the painted to match portions, especially the waterfall section that comes in between the seats and across the center console. And if you didn't like all the standard painted silver trim, you could opt for a chrome package that replaces all of it with, well, a lot of chrome. Both of the seats came wrapped in leather, they're partially powered with manual recline, and they're heated. The driver benefited from 2-person memory. The steering wheel is adjustable for tilt only. All of the controls are simple as can be. A 4-speaker system was standard, but this one has the optional 6-speaker Bose system. All the climate controls are located right in the middle. In the very bottom is my favorite feature, a little optional gauge pod that had a voltometer, torque meter, and an outside temperature gauge. Your power windows and locks are located in the center console, adjacent to the roof mechanism and traction control, while your power mirrors are on the left-hand side of the dash. There's some cup holders dispersed throughout the interior, but they're a little on the flimsy side. Storage is also at a bare minimum inside the SSR, with just a little bit of glove box storage, a little bit of console storage, and narrow door pockets. Like I said, the SSR is technically a pickup. To get access to the bed, you just raise up on that large tonneau cover and then reach in and fold down the tailgate. However, this is not a truck that you're going to take to Home Depot and do a whole lot of heavy lifting. The entire bed is lined in plush carpet, and across the bed floor you have all of these wood strip accents. So no, it's not very practical as far as truck standards, but it's got 23.7 cubic feet worth of space back there, so it's pretty generous. There's also 2 cargo bags to either side to make organizing items a little bit easier. But closing can be a bit of a challenge too. You have to close the tonneau first and then bring up the tailgate, otherwise the pressure inside can make the tonneau hard to close. And I've saved the best for last. Let's go ahead and see how she sounds. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the Chevrolet SSR. Be sure to stay tuned next time, leave a like and subscribe today. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care everyone.